welcome to Victoria Magazine. I'm Daphne Good, and today we're beside the Gorge Waterway, which many of us enjoy today for boating or fishing or just admiring the scenery. But the gorge also played a major part in our past. It was a major transportation link for the people who settled in the Victoria area. And I'm standing actually where the Craigflower farming community was, near the corner of Craigflower and Admirals Road. Just behind me you can see the Craigflower School. It was a pioneer schoolhouse. And over here, Craigflower Manor. Kenneth Mackenzie was the bailiff for the Craigflower farm, and he moved into Craigflower Manor with his wife Agnes in 1856. They had 8 children, 4 girls and 4 boys. And of course the community was growing. There were 63 settlers and they needed a schoolhouse, so they quickly built Craigflower Schoolhouse. Now we're going to learn a little bit about the past and the history as it is taught to today's children. There's been an annual program that's been running for about 5 years at the Craigflower Schoolhouse to tell modern-day children what went on in those years.
Craigflower Schoolhouse was built in 1854 by settlers, assisted by natives, for the children of Craigflower Farm. The school operated until 1911. Today, these children are here as part of the Victoria Rediscovery Society's 1989 Schoolhouse program.
And we're going to take a trip back in time. So now I'd like you to close your eyes and imagine that you're getting on a big wooden ship. Now the time is 1853, and you're getting aboard ship in Gravesend Dock, London, England. Your parents have decided that you're going to the New World, and you had to go on a voyage for 5 long months. You've gone all the way around South America and all the way up the other side through storms and cramped quarters and many, many months of travel. Now, you've arrived here in Fort Victoria, and you're very glad to get on land. And now you'll be coming up the gorge in little boats. And soon you will be helping your parents build their first log cabins here. But first, before I take you in, I'd like you to remember the name of the ship that you were on, okay? It's called the Norman Morrison. Can you repeat after me?
Norman Morrison.
Very good. I think we got an excellent crew here, because now you're going to meet the captain and his first mate.
Hands on deck. Come right this way, Sarah, me lassie. Where is the rest of me crew? There they come. Now, let's march ye right up here to the bow of our fine ship here. Now, me fine lads and lassies, what we need you to do now is to haul on the halyards. And as ye all know, the halyards be these ropes which come from the bow right down to our fine-looking stern crew back there. Now, on the count of 3, I want everybody to give one big haul together. Are we ready now? 1, 2, 3, haul away!
I thought I heard the old man say, John Kanaka Tulai, today is a sailing day. John Kanaka Tulai, Tulai. John Kanaka Tulai, it's one more fall and then be late. John Kanaka Tulai, 'cause that's the way we earns our pay. John Kanaka Tulai, belay, which means you'd stand to the side and wrap your rope around a belaying pin and tie her down so she won't slide back.
That's it now. Tie her down good there. There, now, me mateys, look above ye. There be the mainsail, and she be full of the wind now, and we're bound for Fort Victoria in no time at all.
All wooden ships leaked. It wasn't a question of whether your ship leaked, but how much she leaked as to how much time you, the crew, would spend pumping her out. And a pair of pumps looked like a pair of teeter-totters that went like this. There would be 2 guys on this end, and 2 guys on this end, and 2 guys on this end, and 2 guys on this end. And they might spend their whole 4-hour watch just going like this, pumping out the ship. And sailors took little things to see with them to help them with their work and their song. So they didn't want to sleep with whatever, because there weren't any closets aboard a sailing ship. So I have something small here that sailors would have taken with them. This is the baby brother to the accordion, called the concertina, right? And B is the bowsprit that often does dip. C is the caps in which we wind round, and D are the davits that lower the boat down. Merrily, merrily, so merry our song, so merry are we as we're sailing along. Heave away, haul away, the wind blowing free, no mortal on earth like a sailor at sea. And Y is for the yardarm where we often stand. Z is for Zoe and her fancy man. Z's also for zero in the cold winter time. And now we have put all the letters in rhyme. Merrily, merrily, so merry our song, so merry are we as we're sailing along. Heave away, haul away, the wind blowing free, no mortal on earth like a sailor at sea. Aye, Captain, she's all pumped out now.
Now, me fine lads and lassies, seems like only yesterday we left old London town and we sailed across the Atlantic and around Cape Horn. And now we be landed here at Vancouver's Isle. And ye be no longer greenhorns at sea, for now we must make landlubbers out of each and every one of you. For we've got land to clear, and cabins to build, and crops to plant if we're going to make it through our very first winter here at Fort Victoria. Now,
As new young settlers, our students are taken even further into this living history experience by being divided into small groups to learn various aspects of pioneer life.
Wash our hands to start off with.
This school has a kitchen because it was also the home of the schoolmaster. These children are learning of and actually doing some of the chores that were once those of the students boarding with the schoolmaster and his family.
Have you helped your grandfather make Scottish scones? That's great. We need another 2 of this one here. That's 1 teaspoon, right?
All the food was prepared and grown on Craigflower Farm, and some of the chores of the children, before or after school, might have been to help with the household baking or churning and paddling the butter.
And then you take the wooden paddle and you pat it down in the corners. See? There we are. Now, I push it just straight down, not too hard. Okay? There is your butter.
Now, this is the classroom you were just in downstairs. And you'll notice the year is 1911. That was the last year the school was open. It was open between 1855 and 1911. Now, I'm going to hand you each one of these slates. Now, in those days, slates were all you had to do your lessons on, because there was no paper yet.
Upstairs, these children experienced a classroom of the 1800s, writing on slates with graphite pencils and looking at photographs of early Craigflower as inspiration for their drawings.
Were they erasers?
Ah, good question. They used flannel rags for erasers in those days. This is Fort Victoria itself. Isn't that amazing that there's a picture left from way back in those days? And do you see this gate right there in the stockade? Outside that gate was a wharf, and that's where the Norman Morrison would have docked. So these were the first buildings that you ever saw when you first came here. Yes, Ellie?
In the old days, were all the houses made out of wood?
Yes, definitely.
Did the ringing thing that on the bell was still on there?
Yes, it was. The clapper.
So, like, do you pull the thing and it goes back and forth?
That's right, yeah. There's a rope attached to the clapper.
From this class, looking at photographs, we go to another room where the children examine artifacts from the Craigflower Farm of 130 years ago.
What do we use the sword for?
Well, the sword was probably just used for decoration because men really liked to wear fancy things. They wore lots of medals and ribbons and fancy things on their shoulders, and they carried swords a lot.
These children also discuss how the native Indians taught the settlers about local food and resources, and they learn a dance symbolizing the salmon's life cycle.
From the sea to the sea,
up the river of life, endlessly, and we always return to the place we began. For a million years we swam and swam and swam. We swam and swam and swam.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, students.
Back in the main classroom, the schoolmaster gives a lesson.
Now that we're all sitting up with our hands folded forward. Hands folded forward, please. Thank you. Now, class, I have brought something with me from the Craigflower farm. And I would like to know, just from what you can see with your eyes, if anyone can tell me a one-word description of what they see with their eyes. Yes, Jason?
Cloth.
Cloth. Very good. Let's feel this. We got two strong young men here? All right, grab onto this and hold on very tightly. Don't let me pull it away from you. Okay, let go. Now what do we know about this black material? Yes?
Strong.
Strong. Okay, let's also find out something else by feeling this on the front row here. Let's feel this. There's several different ways and textures there in this material. Now, can you tell us, by feeling it, what can you give us in a one word? Rough. Smooth. It's smooth. It's rough. It's black. What's another thing about it that you can also tell me?
See-through.
By raising your hand, yes?
See-through.
It's see-through as well. Now, I wonder, on the Craigflower farm, where would we get, what is this made of? What is this material, this strange material made of it?
String.
String? No.
Thread.
No.
Leather.
No.
Oxen.
You're very warm. She said oxen fur. Yes.
100% polyester.
100% wrong. We didn't have polyester in 1860. Yes?
Horsetail.
Horsetail. That's a horsetail. And this is horsehair material.
In recognition of the many Scottish settlers who came to Craigflower, the children sing one last song, Highland Laddie.
Away we go, Heelan laddie, bonny laddie, way, hey, and away we go, me bonny Heelan laddie, oh. Thank you.
As the children leave Craigflower and the 1860s, they sample the Scottish scones and butter prepared earlier in the kitchen. And so ends another day of living history for young visitors to Craigflower School, a valuable reminder of our heritage.
We hope you enjoyed that trip through history as much as the kids and we did. And the Craigflower School program featured children from Fairburn Elementary in Victoria. The interpreters were Mary-Ide Widman, who wrote many of the songs, William Watson, Leslie Martin, and Rose Carson. The interpreters were really terrific, weren't they? The program was sponsored by the Victoria Rediscovery Society and the Ministry of Municipal Affairs, Recreation and Culture, Heritage Properties Branch.